Welcome to Previously on X-Men, the podcast that looks at X-Men comics, movies, shows, characters, and more. I'm Hilary.
And I'm Eric.
Every time. Is there a lag?
No, I guess I was waiting for your last name, and then I was like, she's not saying it, just say Eric.
Oh, just go.
Yeah, and I'm Eric.
Hi.
Hey, how's it going?
It's good. See, listen, we're talking about the animated series this episode, but before we do anything else, I have two things that we need to talk about.
Oh, jazz.
First thing, you didn't answer my text about starting a farm sanctuary. Is it a yes or a no?
I've thought of that before. I just don't know, how do you make a profit of just getting animals from farms that, to stop them from being eaten?
I know. I think you just do. I think it's like a nonprofit thing, and it's like you get grants and donations and things, and you must pay yourself from that. I guess
I'd love it. Just like a bunch of rescue goats and cows.
I think this is
pigs.
the only suitable option for you. Now this crossed my mind. It's like this is the thing that Eric needs.
I did ask Kendra. I was like, "What do you think I would like to do for a living that I'm not doing now?" She's like, well, you don't want to be near people all the time. You like working with animals. You like being in nature. But you also like working with books and stuff. So I'm like, so just a library in the middle of a forest?
An animal library.
An animal library?
Yeah.
just chipmunks help me get the books from the high shelves down. And
there is no downside to this.
Yeah, and then I was like, I spent a whole day addicted to looking up fantasy art of libraries that are kind of overridden by some leaves, but also they built the library around a tree, so the tree's in the middle, and then you get those little lanterns in the. It was great. I'm like, yes, that's where I want to live.
Yes, that's the place. We can build it. We can build it.
Yeah.
Okay, so second thing, you got to meet Chris Claremont.
I did meet Chris Claremont. I met Chris Claremont at a convention, and the line was super long. I spent 2.5 hours at least.
Oh my gosh.
Well, it's because autographs were only $10, and people had suitcases of comics, and there was no limit. So if you plopped down 100 comics for Chris Claremont to sign, he would take your $1,000 and sign it.
Holy crap. Wow.
Yeah, why not? If he could make $1,000 just for writing his name.
I mean, yeah. So you're just in a line watching a bunch of people brag a bunch of nonsense.
He's very chatty, and as you're walking, I was like, if anybody has any questions, feel free. Just ask for people, and then he would just these two kids would just be like, "What about this?" And he just talk.
That's awesome.
It took a while. So I got him to sign some comics for me. I got him to sign a comic for my friend Hilary.
Yeah, you did. That was awesome.
Your husband sent me the comic, but didn't tell you.
He didn't. I had no idea. And you know what? I see all these pictures of you getting your comic signed, and I'm like, yay, so nice. It never crossed my mind to have you sign something for me. It's so obvious.
X-Men wise, I also met Chris Baccello, who is, a comic book artist. I can't think. I'm trying to think of what you've read by him. I'm sure you'd recognize his art, but he's the co-creator of Generation X with Scott Lobdell.
Okay.
So he's the original, those are his designs.
That's
in
cool.
The original comics and stuff. So, and he was super nice and friendly. He was very chatty and asked oh, you still in the hobby? And is your wife, does she read comics? And, I got to tell him I love the way you draw Rogue. He's like, oh, that's great. I just try to draw her like Claremont used to write her, And I'm like, this is sweet.
That's awesome.
Oh, I met Michael Golden, who is the artist who co-created Rogue with Chris Claremont in that Avengers annual.
So that's awesome. Oh my gosh.
Hilary,
I love that they're nice.
Him, yes, they a lot of them are nice. I asked him how old Rogue was supposed to be in that issue, and he said he never got the memo that she's supposed to be a teenager, so he drew her to be late 20s and 30s.
Oh, well, there you go then.
And I was like, hilarious. Well, that's probably a late 30s design more, but still. Yeah, he was just not informed that Rogue was a teenager.
She looks like a really classy old witch.
Mm-hmm.
That's what she looks like.
Yeah.
So if that was what he was going for, that's great.
So yeah, that was fun.
So that's great.
Yeah.
So that's the end of that.
Okay. I don't have any fun things to share.
I didn't think about transitioning.
Hilary, I've got a thing to tell you.
Oh, really?
Did you notice all the X-Men animated episodes on Disney Plus are now in story order?
Well, that's what I was trying to figure out because they seemed to be, and then when I was watching something, it automatically, like, you know how at the end it'll just auto start the next one, and it auto started a different one than was on the list. So I feel like maybe I was watching like while they were switching it or something.
Oh, maybe. I mean, I watched them yesterday, and never in my life have I seen these episodes in order like this.
That's crazy.
Not on the DVD, not on those tapes my mom got me all those whiles ago.
Nope.
Never in reruns. This is the first time that I've ever seen No Mutant is an Island taking place right after the Phoenix Saga.
Well, this is why it's such a
crazy time to live in.
It's a magical experience doing this podcast because it's just seeing it for the first time in an order that makes any sense at all.
Yeah.
I can't believe, I just have to say one more time, I cannot believe that they didn't just put them in order when they put them on Disney Plus to begin with. But at least they figured it out. I can't believe they didn't
do it on the DVDs or anything.
So strange. Yeah. Anyway, so now the next ones in the order that we are doing today are No Mutant is an Island and Obsession. Do you remember these from when you watched them the first time?
I remember always hating No Mutant is an Island. And I'd like to say that hate continues. It is possibly my least favorite episode. I think it is. I don't think there's an episode I like less than this episode.
Yeah, it's a lot of not interesting, fun things happening.
I remember watching Obsession the first time during the reruns, but I think it was like on a Saturday. So like, I just remember not being in school and it just being on like in the morning. I'm like, okay, I can watch this in the morning, and then being like, that was dope. Well, off to have my day.
Well, that sounds delightful.
So I don't remember what happened after that. I probably just went to go hang out with my friends and play Smash Brothers.
Yeah, let's dive into that. Let's really figure out what your day was like.
Back then? Back when I was 14?
Way back, yeah. We can need a day in the life.
Wake up a little early, take out my harmonica, and sit on my stoop.
No. That's terrible.
Oh, sorry. I don't have a harmonica anymore.
Are you describing an actual thing or just what you think children back then would have done? Because sitting on a stoop with a harmonica sounds like a joke.
Probably until I was 14, or probably until I was 15, I had a harmonica, usually most of the time. I couldn't play it. I just liked having a harmonica.
You just carried it with you?
No, I would play it, but I didn't know how to play harmonica. So it was just noise, but I liked.
Well, that's lovely. Anyway. That's a wonderful glimpse into your childhood. Thank you so much.
One winter, I lost my harmonica because I had it in my snow pants, and then spring came around, and I found it under the snow hill that had melted.
That's beautiful. I'm sure it was in excellent shape.
It was actually in pretty good shape, if I remember, but...
Wouldn't it rust? Seems like it would rust.
Yeah, it's probably more plastic than metal at that point.
I'm looking at the notes here, and it says written by Sandy Seenzy. Is that right, or is that a typo?
I'll take out my previously on X-Men hardcover book.
That would be so helpful.
Boy, do I hate this episode.
Well, we're going to talk about it.
Written by Sandy Seenzy, a.k.a. Dean Stefan.
What?
Edited by Eric Lewald, directed by Larry Houston and Frank Squillich. Yeah.
Are you saying real words?
Yeah, those are names. Don't make fun of them.
I'm sorry, Hank Squillich?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, this is an episode. So this originally aired in September 21st, 1996. So it's like the 5th season that this episode aired.
That is wild.
It was 32 episodes after it was supposed to air.
So it's written as a follow-up to all of the Phoenix stuff, and
directly a Phoenix episode. Yes, it is,
because they're all at her dramatic funeral. Yeah, and they just plopped it. Do you know what was before that? Before in season 5, like what would have aired before that?
Oh, I can't remember. I have no idea what it was.
I feel like
it's on my DVDs.
I feel like this episode, as it is focused on Scott, who is not my favorite person, and is very like low action, pretty dull to begin with, but like throwing it out of sequence seems like why would you even watch that in season 5?
No idea.
Wow.
Yeah, and it also is one of those episodes that has that alternate intro, which I hate as well.
Yeah, that was weird. Has that
Just
happened
the
before?
clip
I've never
show.
noticed that before.
It happens in episodes that aired later because it has that alternate version of the theme. It's got all those clips.
Oh, so that's why, because it was aired later.
Yeah,
I couldn't
it
figure that
is
out.
not a fun intro. I hate it.
Yeah, I was trying to figure
Also,
out what was different about the intro, and if it was like I sort of
then
landed on thinking that it was like using real instruments instead of like a keyboard using those noises, but I wasn't sure.
yeah, and also the episode has that really bad like that I want to say it's ugly. That ugly animation style that's also very shiny.
Yeah. Did you see this? I saw somewhere that there are two versions of this, of
Oh,
the animation of it.
maybe. I mean, I that's why I always was confused because this is like the look that like later episodes have too.
So
So,
strange.
yeah.
Well, anyway, let's start talking about it.
Okay. It just reminds me of ACOM Studios. They were a Batman animated series animation studio that like
Mhm.
if a scriptwriter on the Batman animated series found out ACOM was doing their episode, they were like, "Welp, that sucks for my episode then," because it was just
That's a
bad. And like
shame.
anytime I see this style on the X-Men animated series, it's the same reaction for me. It's like, ugh, shiny fat art with bad angles, just
Well,
insane, ugly
yeah.
angles. It's
If they were
awful.
gonna go with like a lame art, like if they had to for budget or whatever, I guess this
Yeah.
is the episode to do it because it doesn't need anything fancy.
Oh boy. Yeah, and they're all in their they're all at the funeral in costume, which is something this show likes to do where they're just like in full battle gear, ready to sit down and say a few words about Jean.
Yeah, I feel like that wasn't until later that you started to see people just like living their lives in regular outfits and like having to put
Yeah.
on
Yeah. It's rough.
their outfits. I don't know. But
Anyway,
yeah,
it's not
that's
a
how it
strong start.
starts.
It's not a
It's
strong start for me. And the
it's
animation kills me
Beast.
throughout.
Beast is reading what is it? Poetry?
Sure.
To everybody. They're all
Yeah.
in a little circle. They talk about Jean being gone, and Jubilee freaks out and is like, everybody's acting like she's dead, but she's coming back.
Yeah. You know what? I wrote that the animation is killing me and that this was a wrong start. And then I wrote, if memory serves, it gets worse from here. And I proved right. By the end of the episode, it all got worse.
You should just have
Yeah.
like a rating bar on your notes, just like
Jubilee
worse,
has like a
worse.
big Jubilee has this big meltdown. She's like, she could still be alive. You know. You know.
Yeah.
And Rose like, let it out, honey. Let it out, little baby girl. Let it
Yeah,
out.
which could be kind of like an okay character moment, but I don't know if Jubilee and Jean have ever spoken.
Ugh. Yes, they have.
Have they?
So many times.
Jean and Jubilee?
Oh, Jean and Jubilee.
No, I'm not
Sorry.
saying Rogue. I'm saying Jean.
Huh.
Have they been in the same room?
Wow, that's interesting. Boy,
But I'm
Jean.
Jean. Oh,
Um,
Jean.
yeah, it's funny how even an episode about her that she doesn't appear and is still kind of like blah.
Yeah.
All right.
But then the next thing, Scott kind of storms off.
Yeah, he's done. He's done being an X-Men. He's done being den mother to a bunch of whiny babies. He's done with the responsibility. He's done being an X-Men, Hilary.
He quits. He quits for a whole episode.
It's funny because sometimes I see this and Xavier's just like, whatever. But in this one, he's like, Scott, please!
Yeah, he
Think of
was
the X-Men!
I mean, I really didn't super blame Scott for finally melting down because
Yeah.
like the previous episode, Xavier was so like, but we got to move on.
Yeah.
Whatever. And like
in
in this one,
it's the same thing.
yeah.
Everybody's just pushing him to heal like the day after.
Like just let him go lie in his room with like a bunch of tissues and like ice cream and
Yeah.
let him be sad for a bit.
He
But
would
yeah.
love to just sit there with his vanilla ice cream,
Yep.
watching, I'm gonna assume some sort of PBS special.
That seems, yeah.
Yeah.
But like educational.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I should donate since I'm a viewer. Like this.
He's just watching a telethon.
He's watching the telethon while eating vanilla ice cream.
He wants to give.
Yeah.
But yeah, he storms off and he decides to go back to, for whatever reason, the orphanage where he grew up.
Yep.
And so he gets there and he sees Sarah who he recognizes, or does she recognize him?
She recognizes him, I think, and he's like, "Wait, can't be Sarah from us being children."
And I'm pretty sure it's Jean's voice. Yeah.
I don't know. I can't find. There's no on IMDb.
It sure sounded like her.
I mean, maybe you got to keep paying Catherine Disher. She's going to go find other work.
Just come here and be your surrogate for Scott.
Yeah. So maybe to play with, but yeah, she's fine.
Yeah, I think she's just sort of like a whatever nice lady. And she grew up in the orphanage with Scott.
Yep.
And is now running the orphanage.
Yep.
And she's what? Is she focusing on mutants? Or she just accepts mutants?
She accepts mutants. She's trying to find homes for the orphans that are mutants. But the only orphans we ever see in this orphanage are mutants. So maybe it's a mutant-only orphanage? Maybe? And isn't that just Xavier's mansion?
They should combine.
She asks if he's ever been married, and he says, no, married, no. And I'm like, that's kind of a loaded question, because technically, they did attempt marriage. It was just that Mr. Sinister tricked them.
Yeah, I would have said sort of yes. Like, I thought they were, but I guess not quite.
Nope. Mr. Sinister tricked him. He's like, well, probably shouldn't even just go to the Justice of the Peace or anything. It's just dead in the water now.
We'll just forget it. Just move on with our lives, I guess.
Yeah. All right. Enter Kilgrave. I don't have a lot of notes for this because it's so annoying, but maybe you have more notes. Do you have more notes before Kilgrave enters?
Well, just that while they're chatting, there's a fire.
Oh, right.
They run in and they're like rescuing people or whatever. And it turns out that it was this kid. What's his name? Rusty? Kid Rusty.
Great.
Who, he's a mutant. He has fire powers, blah.
Yeah.
And then the cops show up with Kilgrave, who Sarah says is like a nice adopted Rusty, I think.
I don't understand the choice of Kilgrave.
It's odd, right?
This episode. Why do you bring in Purple Man?
It's a weird use.
At this point in the show, like, Sinister was known to have had a hand in Scott's like orphanage life at this point in the comics. So why didn't you just make this Sinister?
Maybe they were going to, because this is the thing. I was watching this with my husband, and first of all, the name Kilgrave did not set off anything in my brain. Wow. Because I know. And I think it's because it's such a random thing, for him to just like show up and like have these kids or whatever.
You love your Jessica Jones.
I love my Jessica Jones. But it didn't set off anything. And then when he started manipulating, I was like, oh, wait a second. This is probably Purple Man. And then he was purple. And I was like, it is Purple Man. Yeah. But why did I start saying that? Oh, because I thought it was going to be a Sinister thing.
Yeah.
And it was not.
It's just Zebediah Kilgrave, aka Purple Man.
Purple Man.
And so I saw this before I started expanding my Marvel reading to like beyond the X-Men. So I didn't know who Purple Man was. And I thought he was so stupid in this.
Yeah, it's not a great showing for him.
In this.
Yeah.
If you're a fan of the Exterminator cast from the 80s, like during the X Factor run, congratulations. You get your Boom Boom, your Skids, your Rusty, and your Whiz Kid all in one episode. Finally.
Yeah. They're all that's the kids at the orphanage, right?
That's the kids at the orphanage, the ones that Kilgrave has already adopted.
That's right. So Kilgrave is apparently being very supportive of the orphanage, and Sarah just thinks he's wonderful.
Yeah.
Scott, from the very start, is very suspicious. And he is giving a lot of space to Rusty to like tell him if something's wrong. I think he does a pretty good job, just like as a human would. If they thought that there might be something going on.
I guess. I feel like today, if a kid is like, the guy who adopted me is abusing me, people are like, oh, frick, we better get to the bottom of this.
That's true. Does he say it that openly?
I mean, he's basically saying, like, he's doing, I don't know. I guess not.
He does, because I think he says he's bad.
Mm-hmm.
I think he says he's bad, and I think that
and he talks about how he has, like, a plan to upend the mayor and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah. But Sarah doesn't buy it, but she wants to keep Rusty there overnight. And Kilgrave is just weirdly like, no, we're not going to do that. And seems to be powerful in some way.
I wrote, sorry, I checked out for a bit, so I don't know what else is happening. I know that at one point we go back and he's just yelling at Rusty, and then he's manipulating them, and he's telling them they're the control.
He's got the kids when we finally see he gets Rusty
in a video
back.
Thing.
They're in like his basement or something, and they're all sort of like restrained.
Yeah.
And there's like a video of him talking to them, and I don't know. There's some electronic things happening. I don't know why he would need that. But
he attacks the mayor's place, but he has the kids attack like all the security. But then when he gets there, he uses his mind control powers on the mayor, and I'm just like, why does he need the kids in the first place?
Yeah, this is why it's a huge misuse of Purple Man, because like
he should just go in and like, hey, can you get me the mayor? Just go get me the mayor. Bring me the mayor.
If it was any other bad guy, then it would make sense that he's like trying to get these kids to, whatever. He also has an intense like pro-mutant thing going on. Like he's not doing it for himself. He's doing it because he wants to remake the government so that the mutants are in charge or whatever.
Yeah,
which doesn't seem super him either. Yeah. So whatever. Yeah,
him and Cyclops and Sarah are talking and stuff, and I don't know what the dynamic is.
I think it's a romantic-y kind of thing. I think she's probably like, hey, this is Scott. I like him. I'm into this. And Scott probably is like, this could be a safe, easy thing for me to fall into. You know what I mean?
This could be a rebound. Yeah. The day after my almost wife died.
I'll just go make out with my ex-sister.
I don't know if they count as siblings at that point.
No, you're right.
I think, okay.
But okay, so this is all happening, and Scott and Sarah go to Kilgrave's house while he's out, right? Or no, he's there
to get the kids, to help the kids, and then Kilgrave shows up and they fight and knock out Cyclops and like dump him out back. And they do. They toss him face down in a pool.
That's right. I forgot this part.
And that's the end game, to just toss him in the pool and hope he doesn't wake up. Maybe he can't
he'll
swim.
Drown. Maybe he won't. We'll let the chips fall.
Sarah tells him she always knew he was a mutant because of when they were kids, and it cuts to a scene where he blatantly uses his powers, and everybody sees. It's like, oh, that's how I knew that you were a mutant.
Amazing. She's very astute.
And then they fight Kilgrave again. Kilgrave has a helicopter.
Yeah, it's all very dramatic and crazy, but I don't really remember how they defeat him somehow.
Yeah, I mean, he shoots the helicopter, and then the other kid mutants the news catches him and everything. It's because the news reporters are there, like, wow, tell me you're filming this.
Oh, that's right. Oh, and it's a whole thing with Rusty, because he sort of was brainwashed, but then he snaps out of it because he's got the power of strong character.
Yep. And then Cyclops says goodbye and leaves the orphanage.
Yeah, I guess probably just because there was action, he's probably like, you know what? The X-Men need me. I need to go back.
This.
Now listen, there is one thing. There's one thing that the message of this episode seems to be that Cyclops says at the end. He's trying to tell the kids why it's a problem that Purple Man was trying to manipulate the system and force people to accept mutants and stuff. He says acceptance must be earned.
That's right. He says that at one point, and I didn't really track that lesson.
I mean, you're they're allowed to exist. I mean, the other people are the problem, you don't need to be holding their hands while it was just a very
But also, it's
message.
coming from Cyclops, so maybe that's 100% what he would believe.
That's true. That could be really in character.
Nothing he's done has ever been good enough to be accepted anyway. So
that's sad. You've got
the damaged student soldier delivering acceptance. And Xavier's like, well, that's not quite my message, but I don't feel like I should correct him. Hey, Cedric Smith. Cedric Smith is the voice of Purple Man in this episode, the voice of Charles Xavier. So
I didn't notice that.
It's kind of like, it's his mentor is in the voice. It's also the problem at his old orphan. Maybe it's an allegory or something. Who knows?
Speaking of voices, Skids is someone who's been in a million things. Tara Strong, you know that name?
Yeah.
So she
Do
was.
I know Tara Strong's voice? Yes.
I'm just saying, she was Magic in the animated series. She's Blink in Legends 2. She's Marrow and X-23 in Wolverine and the X-Men, and she's a million other people in, other like non-X-Men things. She's Raven in Teen Titans. That's probably where I know her the best.
Batgirl in the CW or the Kids WB years of the Batman animated series and stuff.
Yeah.
She's now the go-to for Harley Quinn a lot of times, which I don't love.
I love Harley Quinn in all the cartoons. I think she's so cute.
Huh. Yeah, anyway, she plays Skids.
Yeah, one of the cute little adopted kids.
Yep.
So then that's the end of that.
Listen, I do actually like Boom Boom, so it was nice to see Boom Boom.
Okay, well that's something.
Yes.
It's good to have one positive experience.
Yeah. Cyclops goes back to the mansion. And it's like Xavier is just talking to all the X-Men in the line when Cyclops walks in.
Yeah, they're talking about Cyclops.
Yeah,
and then
that's
he walks in.
What do we do? I'm glad Cy's gone. Maybe now we can loosen our ties.
Wolverine doesn't wear a tie. A bolo tie, maybe.
Yeah, Beast is probably quoting like Hemingway about a man must leave when he must go.
Hemingway is way too succinct for Beast. Beast would never. He would never. Yeah. Okay, but when he gets back, there's an alert on Cerebro because...
Who is scanning the sun, I guess.
Scanning the sun, the region surrounding that. Because Cerebro has found Jean and she's alive.
He's alive. And she's... Even though she went into the sun in her Phoenix costume, she's still in her dumb animated series costume.
Well, but maybe that's not like a picture of her. Maybe it's just Cerebro being like, remember Jean? This person.
Oh, yeah. This is the asset I have.
This is who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Jean.
And then Cyclops says, I miss you. And I'm pretty sure it's just the same line they used in the beginning of the episode.
Oh, he is just so pathetic.
I hate this episode.
Yeah, listen, I'm with you.
It has nothing to offer. It's definitely not a look at like the grieving process of Cyclops that I think it wants to be.
Yeah, that's true. It's like it's trying to do too much.
Cyclops leaving would have been like a bigger deal in maybe the first season when it was more serialized, because you might believe that Cyclops is going to leave for at least like 2 episodes.
Yeah, right.
Whereas this, he's just going to show back. He's just going to return at the end of the episode. For the stat, I mean, he's in the credits. So at this point, there's no like threat like, oh, how long will he be gone? And like, he just remembers he needs to be part of the X-Men, but does that help him grieve over Jean?
Yeah, there isn't really any closure for that. It's just like this other thing.
I guess he learns that he does need to help protect mutants in danger, and 2, there's always Sarah in case he can't get over Jean.
At least there's Sarah. Or maybe if he tries hard enough, he'll find a weird Jean clone to start a family with.
Yeah, maybe Madeline Pryor will show up in the animated series. She doesn't. It's a little that they don't try to get into that world.
No, they don't want to bring that into the children's show.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's
fine.
That's a choice. So the next one, do you like the next one better?
I don't know. I guess we'll see.
We'll see. Okay.
Obsession, which also aired out of order. I mean,
but not in the same place.
After the second season, it's all just out of order for
it makes me crazy.
So many things. I mean, we had that Unstoppable Juggernaut thing, but that still aired in season 1.
Yeah.
It just didn't make much sense. Why?
That was when they were like rebuilding the mansion.
Maybe this did air on time. It says Obsession aired September 24th, 1994. And the Phoenix Saga. Yeah, okay. So, so this aired kind of close to when it was supposed to.
I wonder if like the higher ups or whoever saw what was happening in the No Mutant is an Island, and we're like, let's just move on.
Yep.
Let's do the next one.
It's written by Adam Gillard and directed by just Larry Houston.
Just
He's
Larry
on it.
Houston.
And it opens with Archangel. And at that point, I was definitely like, woo, we're back.
Yeah, back at it, baby.
Bringing the stuff I like.
And it
Angsty,
was
obsessive
weird.
Archangel.
Yeah, it was not the Archangel I was expecting because he's like pushing a team of archaeologists.
Yeah, well, last time we saw him was season 1, where Rogue had used her powers to like stop him, and then he was like, "Oh, I see. Apocalypse really messed me up," and he's like, "I absorbed some of your darkness." He's like, "I hope you're better at dealing with it than me," and then he flies away. Cut to, I guess after a year and a half of being Archangel, he's probably just gone a bit crazy.
I guess so. I mean, like, is he just like hiding? Nobody's
I don't know. He's using his Worthington funds to pay these guys. Yeah, he's having archaeologists dig up any artifacts they can find about Apocalypse because he has to believe there's a weakness so he can kill Apocalypse.
Yeah, and there's no like current problem with Apocalypse. He's not like doing anything. He's trying to find him to destroy him. It's just become this weird obsession with him. Like it's a revenge thing.
Yeah, and he does not pay these people to jabber, as he tells them when they start to jabber.
He does not. But you know what? They're in a union, and they're going to take their break when they say they're going to take their break. They leave. They're not going to take this anymore.
And then somebody shows up, and he's like, hey, I actually found this thing. And it says the Apocalypse has a thing on the back of his neck, which you think you would have already seen, but this is the first time you'll ever hear about it.
Okay, bye.
And then Apocalypse... there's a sighting. I guess there are just sightings of Apocalypse now. I don't know what he's doing. It kind of seems like he is doing things, but there's no plan. He's just showing up.
Yeah, well, maybe he has some like murky plan that only he understands, and it involves popping up in random places. And
the X-Men like have a tracker of like where he has popped up, but we never find out why he was popping up in the places he was.
It's not for you to know, Eric.
That's true. But Apocalypse, he's just hanging out on Ellis Island. A precursor to X-Men the movie.
What?
And it's just... I was just like, after that other episode, it's just nice to hear Apocalypse, played by John... Colicos?
Oh, I don't have it in front of me, so I don't know.
The Star Trek veteran. Just to hear him talk as Apocalypse.
Beautiful. Yeah. Just a wonderful experience every time.
Your Ellis Island represents the destruction of I can't do it. I can't do it.
No, only he can. Only he can do it justice.
Yeah.
But Cerebro has found... They found Apocalypse. No, they found... What? They found his ship. Is that what it is?
Well, that's what happened. The X-Men show up, yeah. But at this point... he's attacking, and the X-Men show up, or at least Rogue shows up to help. And it's funny, when there's blasting going on, Apocalypse just grabs Archangel and uses him as a shield.
That's what he was
which I love. And
we get some fun Rogue Gambit jealousy stuff happening, which I enjoy.
Because they bring Archangel back, and he's blabbering about Apocalypse to Rogue, who's like, I understand, because I absorbed your soul and stuff, and I feel it too. And Gambit's just like in the corner, just like shuffling cards, not saying anything, like, I don't like this, even though 2 episodes ago I was asking a random girl in line what she was doing after a movie. Only
he's allowed to do that.
Yeah. And Archangel, they find out there's a ship, and they just floating in the sky, and they think it's Apocalypse. And his ship from the X Factor comics. So that's fun.
Yay! But Warren is in the mansion, and he runs off.
Yeah, he flies off, Hilary.
Doesn't he like burst through the
I don't know if he's in the basement, but he just pulls something off the ceiling and flies out. So
yeah. So he's out of there. And Rogue decides she has to help him because only she understands him. And Gambit's like, don't go. She's like, I gotta.
He's obsessed. It's gonna kill him. Sherry.
And off she goes. And he acts like he's just gonna like whatever. But we find out later he goes after him. And
Archangel is giving so many signs that Rogue should not be hanging out with him because he's just like crazy. pledge yourself to me, Rogue. She's like,
says
what?
That. He says that, and she's just sort of like, I mean, yeah.
He's like, do you pledge your heart and soul to me against this? She's like, yes. I'm like, yes.
She doesn't even say like, oh well, no, but I'll come along. But she's like, yeah, I don't see why not. It's not pledged to anyone else at the moment.
It's just crazy that she'd be like, okay.
It's very, very weird. But she's also like weirdly entwined with him because of him being like in her head and stuff.
Yeah.
I think the problem with it really is that she doesn't show
we just
the
know
like craziness of it.
Yeah, we know that happened. But you have to remind yourself that yes, there's part of him in her brain saying he's making sense to her.
Right. That's what we're missing. So it just seems like she's just
Wait, do you think there's an Archangel that's in her head being like, let me out, and then Xavier has to trap her in a box?
I think probably, not extract him, not put him back where he goes, just lock him up, lock him back deep in the dark.
Anyway, they get there and they fight, but it was a trick.
Yeah, because Beast makes friend with the ship.
Yes, Beast, Wolverine, Cyclops, Gambit?
I don't remember. No, Gambit was
Stormbend a couple episodes.
Gambit got in his little shuttle and went after Rogue. Oh, Storm. Is Storm there? I don't remember.
No. Anyway,
she's off on a mission.
Beast and the crew are on the ship, and Beast is making friends with the ship, and she's like helping him bypass security defenses and all this stuff. And
she just immediately, like, there's no hesitation.
They set up an energy shield.
She's like, you seem nice. Yeah, I'll help you.
Yeah. Apocalypse shows up because he's got rocket boots, which are always fun. And they capture him in an energy shield.
Yay, he's captured.
And he can't get out. And Archangel is losing it. He's like, I won't stop until Apocalypse breathes blood. And it's just like, I don't know how that got past the sensors, but dope.
Oh my gosh. But he like dives at him and breaks. He dives
in and Beast is like, stop! But no, vengeance has blinded him.
No. And he breaks him free.
The ship says, I was unaware of that particular defense protocol or whatever. She says the same line twice. It drives me crazy when this show does that.
That's funny.
Anyway, Apocalypse says a line. When they're fighting, he's like, you are no closer to defeating me than the Babylonians with their swords and fire sticks.
Oh, man.
And Kendra...
That's not close at all.
Kendra turned to me and was like, you love that line. Because I will just randomly quote Apocalypse saying that.
It's a good
all
one.
the time.
It is a good line.
So I quoted enough.
I have heard that as well.
I quoted enough that my wife turned to me and said, that's the line you always quote.
I feel like you have said that on this podcast.
Probably. It's just such a good line. They're Babylonians and they're fire sticks. That's how low I think of you.
Sticks? I don't know.
It's funny because Archangel's like, where's your weakness? I was told there was a weakness. And then we find out that Apocalypse was just being that guy who was like, look, a weakness. Apocalypse just loves messing with people.
This is what you get for not getting to know your employees.
Yep.
If he had just been a better boss, he would know that was some rando.
Yeah, he did this to Great and Creed too. Remember where he was that like sad little sign? He's like, well, I hope my virus is doing He just keeps playing Jerry Lewis to everybody, and then he turns out to be Apocalypse.
So be very suspicious of all of the meek-seeming people that you see in your life. They could be Apocalypse.
Rogue gets knocked down, and Gambit kind of catches her, but gets like more crushed by her, and then he's like, you better cut down on that fried chicken. And it's like, maybe that's why she prefers the company of Archangel. Gambit.
Yeah. He's talking about devotion, you know? Like that's,
and you're like, serious. You could lose some weight there, Rogue.
He's just bitter.
And at one point, Apocalypse extendo giant arms Cyclops into the wall. And I know it's a dent where Cyclops' head was on the wall, but it's so like black and everything that I thought maybe it was supposed to be blood. And I was like, did he just murder Cyclops?
Oh my gosh.
It was
Cyclops
a dark moment.
Stayed home.
Gambit says that line when he shows up the first time. He's like, the name's Gambit. Remember it.
Remember it.
He's said that before. to other people.
It's his catchphrase.
That's true.
You have a catchphrase, Eric?
Do I have a catchphrase? Well, when
Yeah.
I was a teenager, I used to say awesome but awesome.
No, you didn't.
Yeah. If something was cool, I'd be like, awesome but awesome.
I had a friend in college who always said things were redonkulous, and it made me crazy.
Yeah, you married him. He's your husband, Nick.
That's not him. No.
Your husband Nick is always talking about how things are redonkulous.
He does not say that.
Yeah, he hates jelly on the bread, but he loves redonkulous.
Redonkulous, just loves it.
Yeah. At one point in my life, I was also like, it was like a problem that I should have seen a doctor over. I was just saying chill all the time. Something was chill. I was chill. That was chill. We're chill. This will be chill. Everything was chill.
Yeah, you're a child of the early 2000s.
Yeah. Anyway.
So they fight. Tra-la-la. Beast, who has made friends with the ship.
Ship. Yeah. Her name is Ship.
With Ship. Sorry.
And it's a lady ship because
she's a lady.
She kind of sounds like Winona Ryder.
Oh, I did not pick up on that.
She's not Winona Ryder. I don't think Winona Ryder was like, can I play Ship on the X-Men animated series?
Can I just...
Gambit tries to save Angel, which I think is nice considering he doesn't trust Angel. But like Archangel's like knocked out and the ship is like collapsing and stuff and Gambit and locking everything. And Gambit goes over to try to get him, but then he gets trapped. And then Rogue is like, Gambit!
Can I have that one again?
Gambit! And they get out and everything. Ship is dying. It's funny because it's a computer program, but as the ship is breaking down, it's like very labored speech. He's like, I will try, friend Hank, to free you.
She's heard people die before, and so she just wants to be as human as she can. Because she launches him into space somehow.
Yes.
Apocalypse.
Yeah, they send him out. He's like, he does the thing, I shall return.
What?
Which I feel like I've seen a whole bunch of times. And I don't remember the next time he comes back. It might be the big 4-parter, Beyond Good and Evil.
Do you think he comes back from space, or is he just like, surprise, here I am?
He does. It's been a while since I saw that 4-parter, but I really think that's the next time we see him.
I mean, it would take a while to get back.
Yeah, but that makes me sad that it's going to be a bit since we've seen him. I always like when he shows up. Anyway, Archangel is talking about, like, he'll be back. You don't know him. Like, I know him. He's the worst. We need to keep hunting him and destroy him. And it's just, he's set at 11 all the time, this Archangel.
Yeah, he really, really is. I don't think he has a second where he backs it off. Did you watch the Beetlejuice animated series when that was on?
Yeah.
That guy, Stephen Ouimet, is Archangel.
Oh.
Same guy.
He was Beetlejuice?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And Allison Court was Lydia.
Wait, so who was Allison Court in this one?
Jubilee.
Oh. Wait, so what do you... Oh, Lydia I'm trying to figure out what you're saying. In Beetlejuice.
Yeah. She was Beetlejuice. Lydia. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I used to watch the Beetlejuice cartoon all the time.
That's fun. I only saw the movie.
I loved it. Whenever it was like, it's showtime, you knew it was about to get crazy.
It was showtime.
I had a thing wherever when I was a kid, and sometimes I'd be in a fight, I'd be like, it's crazy time, like Beetlejuice, and then I would go crazy.
It's good to warn people ahead of time.
I don't know if I necessarily had a healthy childhood. Anyway, Beast is so sad about the ship. So much to the point that I think maybe he was gonna like marry the ship.
The whole time their interactions felt very like first date.
I can't find it now, but I remember back in like 2007 when I was looking for more like comic book geek music on iTunes, there was a song titled "Remember the episode of the X-Men where Beast fell in love with the computer."
That's amazing.
And I don't know if I could find it again, but
I love that. That's one of my favorite things that people do when they name like a piece of art or like a song like that it's just like a rambling sentence. I just love that. It speaks to me, Eric.
Yeah, I didn't buy it at the time because, it didn't sound good. Anyway, I like this episode, but it doesn't necessarily hit like when it did the first time. I think it's just so it kind of comes out of nowhere. Apocalypse isn't really doing anything they need to stop. There's no it's just Archangel is after Apocalypse, and Apocalypse is kind of in the area, and there's not. It's not the cleanest threads. Like the threads just don't necessarily. You have this thing with Rogue and Archangel. You have this thing with Archangel and Apocalypse, and you have this thing with Beast in the ship, and it like works as like a standalone just piece of entertainment. But there's something keeping it from being like a super strong episode.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think a lot of what is holding it back is that kind of like randomness within the continuity, because you've just built so much into this like Jean situation, and then just to have this like, I guess we're doing this now for no reason. I don't think they mention anything.
It's not like Apocalypse is after Archangel, so Archangel needs the X-Men. It's not like
there's nothing like bringing it in. It's just they happen to be scanning for things, and we should probably look into this.
Yeah, like if Angel had fought Apocalypse by himself, realized he couldn't do it, and then he like snuck to Rogue and was like, "Will you help me? I need your help." And then the X-Men are like, "Wait, where'd Rogue? Oh no."
That would be good.
Because there's just something keeping it all from just not seeming coincidental. And maybe if Apocalypse was doing something, maybe if he had a plan and the X-Men were stopping that. But all they're really doing is taking care of the ship, which they just found out he had.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and it's like their primary goal isn't even really to defeat Apocalypse. It's to handle the Archangel situation, which involves stopping Apocalypse.
Yeah, for the X-Men, Archangel is the thing to take care of, not Apocalypse.
Yeah. Anyway.
We both said anyway.
Jinx or whatever.
That's it.
I was gonna say buy me a Coke, but you're so far away.
Do you even drink Coke?
Venmo me a Coke.
You don't like all flavors of Coke. You just don't like cherry Coke?
I like plain Coke. That is the only Coke variation that I like. I don't like anything else.
Okay.
But that's neither here nor there, Eric.
Right. Do you like the Coke minis?
Just the ones that are like a small can?
Yeah, the small can, not the regular cans.
Oh yeah, I love those because I can never finish a full can.
Is that true?
Yeah.
So just like a can, which is not a big can.
Yeah, I don't know. I just never finish them. I'll just like back when I was drinking more soda, there would just be like half full cans, and I'd just be like, well, I guess I'm throwing this away.
That cracks me up.
Yeah. Anyway. So the next time that we're doing the animated series, we are going to be doing Long Shot.
Yep.
And Cold Comfort, which is an Iceman episode that we talked about in a previous thing where we were focusing on Iceman.
It's Iceman and X Factor will show up as well. The Long Shot episode, Hilary, is a Mojo episode.
Yes, I'm emotionally prepared. I will be here for this one.
It's not as good as the Mojo episode that we've already watched.
It's less good than that Mojo episode.
Yep.
Less good than that is what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
It's another one that aired way out of order and I think has that bad animation style.
Nice. Well, bad animation and Mojo's character design. That's gonna be stellar. It's gonna be a good time for everybody involved.
I'm sorry.
I'm interested to see Cold Comfort because I do not remember seeing Iceman in this show, so I wonder if I never even saw this episode.
It's his only appearance.
Yeah, I guess we'll see. So that'll be next time.
Yeah.
Next animated series episode.
Time.
All right. Well, that'll wrap us up for today. Thank you to Prophetic Music for our theme song, which is awesome. Previously on X-Men is brought to you by the Radio Meanwhile Network. Other shows on the network include 90s Music Got Me Like, This Sindorian Life, and 9021 Here We Go, with a 0 at the end I'm seeing in the notes. Follow us on Facebook or Twitter at Previously on X. Please rate, subscribe, or share this show wherever you get your podcasts. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.